Progressive social. Is this what the party should look like?
Yes.
Democratic Party move.
You bet.
Oh, there you go, Mark Zuckerberg. So Mark Zuckerberg gets to buy another island.
I was trying to hold in a cough and I started crying.
Oh, I thought you were just being tender. I feel the same way. I bring this out in people. I really do. It's fun.
Have some water.
Tell me how Zohran is going to pay for free childcare, free buses, when he's going to step into office on the first day and he's going to realize actually the mayor doesn't have any power to raise money on the rich, and that was his plan to pay for all this crap to begin with. I'll tell you how he's going to pay for it. He's going to pay for it by raising property taxes, raising other taxes in any way that he can. The thing you got to understand is I'm from South Richmond Hill. People in the outer boroughs over there, they don't have these big fancy corporate tech jobs. They're not celebrities with fat salaries. The way they make their money is they own maybe a deli across the street, or they own a spice shop, or they work there. And those people are the ones that are going to absorb these higher taxes that he's going to use to generate income for his ill-conceived ideas that won't even get anybody out of poverty to begin with. His whole plan is going to only hurt middle to lower income black and brown people in New York City. If you have some big fancy fat tech job or you're a high income earner in New York City, Zohran's policies will not affect you. It'll affect people that I grew up with, black and brown people in South Richmond Hill, where I worked in Flatbush or in Brookdale. It'll affect people where I went to high school in the Bronx. These are the people that are going to be affected. So all the rich white people that voted for him because they think that they're doing something good for minorities, you left up. But don't push your vote through November, because the guy's a scam artist.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So we got to talk about the radical Muslim socialists out of New York City. We got to talk about a couple of them, okay? Because Democrats now are embracing these people as their leader, right? The Zohran Mamdanis of the world, okay, who's running for mayor of New York City as the Democrat candidate. You also have Omar Fattah out of Minneapolis, okay, who was endorsed by the Democrat Party.
عبددانتو مقعد عمر فاتح State Senator District 62 هدنا وحنا هاي مشرح داخل مقالة Minneapolis. First, لبوي كهور, we won the DFL endorsement process. Alhamdulillah, man kubu lesinay حزبك DFL in getting the endorsement. And now the next process وحوية September 15th and November 4 will be early voting. So please come out. We need your help to volunteer. We need your help on the phones to make phone calls to everybody. Most importantly, we need your help to donate. We need a lot of financial support to make sure we're supporting all of the volunteers and making sure we have a strong team. So please go to fatahformayor.com to learn more. And to talk about the campaign with Mahsin team.
He also is competitive in his race against the Democrat mayor there. Yeah, it looks like we're headed towards a world, okay, where we have Muslim socialists running some of the biggest cities in the United States of America, okay, and where this is most likely to happen, again, is in New York City, as Mamdani and his lead continues to expand, okay. Cuomo, Eric Adams, and Curtis Sliwa, again, absolutely mollywopped by Zohran Mamdani, who, again, Democrats have embraced as their leader, okay? Even, Democrats like Jerry Nadler, they've come out and basically said, yeah, Zohran's our guy, right? He is the type of guy that we need going into the midterms, okay? This is a full mask-off moment for the Democrat Party, embracing radical socialism. I mean, in this case, Zohran Mamdani is likely a communist. Again, they're openly embracing and endorsing communism.
While we work to take back the House in 2026 and the White House in 2028, we need Zohran Mamdani as mayor, fighting against these betrayals right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Not enabling them. Every seat matters. Every race matters. And who is mayor of New York is crucial. New York City needs a leader who won't give Trump an inch, who won't flinch or bargain away our rights. With Zohran Mamdani as mayor, we'll have a leader who will defend our hospitals, our schools, and our neighbors from Trump's devastating policy.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before we dive in, I wanted to mention something that might be helpful to some of you, if you've ever been in a situation where you've been injured, or whether in an accident or dealing with a legal issue, you know how overwhelming it can be to figure out where to turn. That's precisely why I wanted to talk about our valued sponsor, Morgan & Morgan. They understand that in this country, every individual deserves a fair shot, and that means having formidable representation when you need it the most. Morgan & Morgan stands up for everyday Americans fighting for the justice you deserve if you end up working with them. They're America's largest injury law firm, and they've recovered over $25 billion for more than 500,000 clients. That's not just a number. That's a testament to their unwavering dedication to getting results for those who've been wrong. Now, what truly resonates with me about Morgan & Morgan is their core philosophy. They don't get paid unless they win your case. It's about accountability and results and ensuring that the little guy has the same access to powerful legal representation as anyone else without upfront costs. They believe in fighting for individual rights and ensuring that hardworking Americans aren't left behind. So if you or a loved one has been injured or needs a strong advocate to navigate a difficult legal battle, don't face it alone. Because when you hire Morgan & Morgan, it's like hiring a legal army that has your back. You can start your claim now by clicking the link in the description or by scanning the QR code on screen from your phone's camera. Standing up for what's right for your family and for your future is always the conservative choice. A big thank you to Morgan & Morgan for their sponsorship and for supporting content that champions American values. Now, let's dive back into it.
Primary Zohran Mamdani emerged as the front-runner for the general election in November.
And a new poll shows him with a commanding lead in that race, no matter who's on the ballot against him. Fox 8's political reporter Morgan McKay is here with the new details. Hey, Morgan.
Hey, guys. So exactly, one of the biggest takeaways from this poll is that the Democratic nominee, Zohran Mamdani, is leading by double digits against the other four candidates in the race. The poll conducted by Zenith Research and Public Progress Solutions also did one-on-one matchups with Mamdani against Mayor Eric Adams and former Governor Andrew Cuomo. And as you can see, Mamdani continues to lead against each one of them. But Adams and Cuomo have been trying to pressure each other to bow out of the race so they don't split that anti-Mamdani vote. Cuomo lost to Mamdani by double digits in the primary, but this poll shows him slightly ahead of Adams in a one-on-one matchup. Amit Baga with Public Progress tells us that though both Cuomo and Adams are facing an uphill battle when it comes to favorability.
It's very clear in our poll that likely voters in New York City do not want either Andrew Cuomo or Eric Adams to be their mayor. 68% of respondents in our poll said that they would not consider even voting for Eric Adams. That number is 60% for Andrew Cuomo.
The poll also broke down the demographics of likely voters and which way they might lean. And as you can see, Mamdani is leading in more than 70 demographics, including among younger Jewish voters, which many have considered to be a weak point for Mamdani, considering his stance on Israel. Adam Carlson, the founding partner of Zenith Research, explains more.
Less observant Jews or Reform Jews were much more likely to support Mamdani, like over 50%, versus conservative and Orthodox, more likely to support Cuomo and Adams. And then younger Jews were actually one of Mamdani's strongest groups. That's Jews under the age of 45, gave him 67% of likely voters.
Now, that poll was conducted 4 days before the horrific shooting that killed 4 people on Monday. We break it down further at 6:30. Bianca, Natasha.
All right, Morgan, thank you so much.
Yeah, so you see now, you heard that. It doesn't matter who it is. In a one-on-one matchup with Zohran Mamdani, they're winning. Right now, with the votes being split, it's basically guaranteed that Zohran Mamdani is going to win. But even if Eric Adams drops out or Cuomo drops out or whoever, it doesn't matter at this point, okay? One-on-one, Zohran is basically beating everybody, okay? Yeah, I think it is very likely that he will become New York City's next mayor. And that, to me, would be a damning blow to this country, right? I know some people, some Republicans, some conservatives are like, who cares? It's New York. Let liberals, destroy themselves, right? But at the same time, I don't want to see what used to be one of the greatest cities in the world fall to socialism, right? To communism. I don't want to see that. Also, on top of that, this emboldens more of these radical lunatics to run, okay? To believe that, hey, we can win. And a lot of these people are going to start running for office believing that they can repeat Zohran Mamdani's success, which is also a bad thing for this country. It's a great thing for Republicans because it means that it's more likely that Republicans will win. However, some of these lunatics will slip through the cracks, right? Some of these lunatics will win their races. And a far-left Democrat Party is not good for this country, okay? So, again, with that being said, this is why Polymarket, the betting markets, have Zohran Mamdani at a plus 80% chance. I mean, he is surging, okay, in regards to his chance of becoming mayor of New York City, okay, which I think is very likely to happen at this point. Now, who knows? We got a few months to go, but as of right now, Zohran has all of the momentum. However, that doesn't mean that he is scandal-free because there is more information coming out about how this guy is just another champagne socialist taking advantage of the ignorance of the far left. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into this.
Well, we learned about Zohran Mamdani and how he lives in a rent-stabilized apartment. Meanwhile, it's estimated that he and his wife make $200,000, maybe plus. And those rent-stabilized apartments are only for people who are low income. Yeah. And when he rented the apartment, he said he was making $47,000 a year, so he qualified, and now he says he plans to move out. So Andrew Cuomo, who's running against him for the mayor seat, said he wants to propose a new law called the Zohran law to make sure this doesn't happen.
Well, you also got to remember that this is the same guy that just how many weddings did he have? Like three different weddings?
Three countries. And he owns property in Uganda.
With armed guards and everything. This was supposed to be for the poor, and he's clearly not poor, but taking advantage of any type of assistance, just like any socialist or communist. This is Cuomo finally outlining what he would do with this new law.
Rent-stabilized units, when they're vacant, should only be rented to people who need affordable housing, not people like Zohran Mamdani. You don't need to be renting rent-stabilized units to wealthy people. Otherwise, what you're doing is you're abusing the system. I'm going to propose not rent that apartment by law, except to a person who actually needs affordable housing. And I'm going to call it Zohran's law because it's an abuse of the system.
Well, why don't you just get rid of the rent-stabilized housing altogether, right? Just get rid of the socialism. That's the real solution here because that's part of the reason why you don't have more affordable housing being built in New York City because it's not profitable to build affordable housing, right? You can't make money off of it because of these rent stabilization policies. This is why in New York City, yeah, they're building houses, but they're building housing for the rich, right? They're not building housing for the poor because, again, it's not profitable, okay? And ultimately, that ends up driving up the prices of the non-rent stabilized units because of the fact that they're not able to build more quote-unquote affordable housing, again, due to the fact that you can't really make money off of it. Again, this is the government intervening in a system and making it less efficient, right? Causing more problems, okay, than providing solutions. Now, in this case of Zohran Mamdani, clearly, again, this is a champagne socialist hypocrite, okay? He's rich, living in what is supposed to be, again, affordable housing. Now, am I surprised by this? No, I'm not surprised by this because one of the critiques of the rent stabilization is the fact that that's what happens, right? What happens is that wealthy people tend to hoard these affordable housing units, and also they can afford to pay for the upgrades and the things like that compared to your average run-of-the-mill, landlord that owns one of these units, right? That's housing people who, again, cannot afford to pay for the upkeep, but the landlord is not incentivized to pay for the upkeep due to the fact that, again, they can't really make money off of the unit. They don't have enough money to pay for the upkeep, and that's why a lot of these affordable housing units, right, that are rent stabilized, they turn into slums, right? They turn into slums because the owners, the landlords, don't have the money for upkeep of the property due to the fact that, again, rent is capped. So again, what you have here is Cuomo, yes, exposing what's wrong with the system, and this socialist taking advantage of it. However, again, he's proposing the wrong solution. The solution really is to just get rid of it, right? Get rid of rent stabilization and to incentivize building a more affordable housing units by actually allowing people to make money, right, from building affordable housing. That's the real solution. But he's proposing, again, the government just don't allow rich people to rent out these homes instead of just, again, allowing more of a free market system that could possibly drive down prices. So, you know, the reality here is that I don't think that this hypocrisy is really going to affect Zohran Mamdani, right? That's the sad part about it. I don't think that any of the people that are voting for him care about the fact that he is a multimillionaire socialist living in a rent-stabilized unit. I do not think that they care at all, okay?
This every day. He's also part of a socialist organization that's looking to destroy the family. I almost thought that was part of the Onion. I said, wait a second. Is this guy just, no, he actually says this stuff, and this is the group that he belongs to. Governor Pritzker, a multi-billionaire because of his family.
Hyatt Hotel, right?
Yeah, governor of Illinois, running for a third term, was asked, because no one endorses Mamdani outside Elizabeth Warren, was asked about billionaires because Mamdani wants to get rid of them. People like him. Watch.
Look, how much money you have doesn't determine what your values are. And I'm a Democrat because I believe that everyone deserves health care. I'm a Democrat because I believe we've got to fund education and have a free public education available to every kid in this country. I'm a Democrat because I believe that we've got to stand up for our democracy and against the MAGA Republicans who are literally trying to take away people's rights all across this country. So it does not matter what your income level is. What matters is what your values are, and that's what makes me a Democrat.
Yeah, I mean, Pritzker's a Democrat because he's a con artist, right? Just like the reason why all of these people are Democrats is because it's easy to con people by, you know, telling them that the government is going to come in and, you know, give them free stuff and that the white man is evil and that nothing's ever your fault. You don't need to take any personal accountability or responsibility for anything that happens to you in your life, right? But yeah, I mean, what Pritzker is talking about is the fact that, yeah, that extremism, okay, is coming back to haunt the Democrats because of the fact that you have so much hate against billionaires, right? You have all of these socialists who are on platforms built by billionaires talk about how billionaires should not exist, while also at the same time, the only reason these people have any relevance whatsoever is because of a billionaire, right? Without billionaires, Zohran Mamdani wouldn't be a thing, okay? Because his campaign surged based off his internet popularity, right? So again, without billionaires, these socialists would not be as rich as they are. A lot of them wouldn't be that rich, okay? Because, again, a lot of these socialists, the best thing that ever happened to them was a billionaire, okay? Because they made a lot of money online pushing socialism and getting rich while claiming that they're fighting for the poor. So, anyways, with that being said, we got to check in on the other radical Muslim socialists in Minneapolis, Omar Fateh, who has a 40% chance, according to Polymarket, of becoming Minneapolis' next mayor, which I believe is too close for comfort, right? Especially considering the fact that in Minneapolis, they do ranked choice voting, which tends to benefit these far left socialists. So again, this also is not good, right? It's not good for the race to be this close. Even though he's not winning, the race is way too close for comfort.
Getting to be a crowd for the race for mayor in the city of Minneapolis. Incumbent Mayor Jacob Frey is trying for his third term, but he's got challengers. State Senator Omar Fateh, Dwayne Davis, Jazz Hampton, and Brenda Short so far. This is Breaking the News. I'm Janice Shortle. So Omar Fateh is where we're going to focus because he won the endorsement from the Minneapolis DFL, making national headlines as a Democratic socialist. Governor Walz, though, has vocally endorsed Mayor Frey. So who is Omar Fateh? Here's Danny with Fateh himself.
After 5 sessions at the Capitol, State Senator Omar Fateh is running to be the next mayor of Minneapolis.
I love everything about the city, the people.
Fateh has emerged as Mayor Jacob Frey's top challenger after winning the Minneapolis DFL endorsement. Frey is appealing that endorsement to the state party, citing flaws in the electronic voting system.
I 100% trust the process. We have a team in the party that worked really hard.
Fateh's endorsement.
Ain't that hilarious, though, how Jacob Frey loses this endorsement election and then he boo-hoo-whines and cries about electronic voting, right? Now, all of a sudden, Democrats are like, oh, electronic voting has problems, right? After, again, telling us how, oh, well, that's impossible, right? It's impossible for electronic voting to have issues. But apparently, again, when they lose, now all of a sudden, they got issues. Hilarious.
Endorsement this summer drew national attention. Like Democratic nominee Zohran Mamdani in New York City, Fateh describes himself as a democratic socialist.
For me, that means addressing everyone's basic needs and making sure that no one gets left behind.
If elected, Fateh says priorities would include standing up to the Trump administration, pushing for rent stabilization, and a $20 minimum wage by 2028.
All failed policies, right? All failed policies. Number one priority is pushing back against the Trump administration. Now, what does that mean? What that means is that his number one priority is going to be allowing illegals to stay in this country, right? Protecting illegals from being deported. That's going to be his number one priority. And then he's talking about rent stabilization. So again, experiencing some of the same problems, okay, that comes with rent stabilization that all of these liberal cities are facing when they implement this stupid policy. And then you're talking about raising the minimum wage as well too, which will lead to job losses. Again, these are all failed socialist policies that all of these people are endorsing, right? They're all endorsing this stuff.
Policing, though, Fateh breaks from the Democratic Socialists of America.
When it comes to public safety, do you agree with the national platform on police abolition?
That's not going to happen, absolutely. And so what we envision is a public safety system that works for everyone.
The Fry campaign has called attention to Fateh's support of the failed charter amendment 4 years ago that would have replaced MPD with the Department of Public Safety. But Fateh says he would invest further in behavioral crisis and mental health workers, something Fry has done while in office.
So you wouldn't support cutting funding for the department?
Actually, I would think that in this situation, we'd actually have to increase public safety funding to make sure that we have all the alternatives.
This was also
I hope nobody believes this, right? I hope people don't fall for this nonsense. This guy was caught red-handed trying to defund the police, right? Trying to dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department post George Floyd. This guy was one of the ringleaders. And now all of a sudden, because that position isn't popular anymore, now he's changing his tune, right? So we all know what he actually really believes. These people are going to be soft as hell on crime, regardless, right? Regardless of whether or not they actually dismantle the police, they're going to be soft as hell on crime. That's what people got to understand.
First chance to ask Fateh about feeding our future. And video entered as an exhibit in the trial showing Fateh at a June 2021 event celebrating a ruling that prevented the state from stopping payments due to suspected fraud. Fateh praised two key players later charged in the scandal, Ikram Muhammad and executive director Amy Bach.
And I want to thank also Amy.
Months later, the FBI carried out their raids.
You were on video thanking Amy Bach, Ikram Muhammad. What do you say to Minneapolis voters about those connections, given what ultimately happened to those folks?
That was a situation which was really heartbreaking. Folks that we believed were serving honorably the community.
Fateh returned campaign funds given by several donors connected to the scandal.
Anytime folks abuse the system fraudulently, especially when it comes to children, we need to stand against that.
As a state senator, why weren't you more skeptical about the growth of that program and the fraud that was potentially happening?
I don't think at that time we knew that they were under investigation.
Looking ahead to November, Fateh says his mayoral campaign will highlight working class issues.
And folks just want their leaders to stand up for the everyday person.
Now, Mayor Fry's challenge to Fateh's Minneapolis DFL endorsement will be settled by the state DFL party, so the Minnesota DFL. A hearing will be held on that matter August 17th. Jana.
Danny, just curious, at this point, why even challenge the endorsement? Mayor Fry has money. He is the incumbent. What's the point of it?
You know, it's important in terms of access to voter information, party support, and actually Mayor Fry in his appeal has asked for that same type of support that an endorsed candidate would get as that process is playing out. So significant, certainly isn't something that necessarily determines the race, but is significant.
All right, Danny, thank you.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. The point of this video is that what I told you guys, the Democrat Party's, I guess, Tea Party moment, or the far left's, the progressive movement's Tea Party moment is happening. It's happening. These people are surging. They're surging. Okay, the Democrats are openly endorsing these individuals. They're embracing these individuals, right? And this is the direction that the Democrat Party is headed in. I think that it is very likely that Zohran Mamdani will win the New York City race. Okay, this guy I think is more of a toss-up. But still, the fact that this is even a thing, right, in this country, again, really shows you how far the Democrats have fell off a cliff, and they've lost complete and total control over their party, right? The Democrat establishment has lost, right? They've essentially lost at this point. And Zohran becoming mayor is only going to make it worse, right? It's only going to accelerate the downfall of the Democrat Party. And again, terrible for the country, great for Republicans. We're going to see how this plays out in the midterms. But yeah, this is currently where we're at right now. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.